Yeah, these videos been going nuts. Like, I mean, every post I'm at like 20,000 views.
Oh my God.
The top video got almost 5 million views, and it's about District 7 and giving some history on it. So all this stuff, I'm like, everything I'm capturing is like gonna get a lot of buzz, and like people want to support. So
District 7 in the house. Like, for real today.
What'd you say?
District 7
Oh,
in
District
the
7,
house.
yes.
For real.
Today. Like a whole contingency.
Trey, so talk to me a little bit. Tell me what we're doing here.
check. All right, so we got our first guest, Dolores, in the building. I'm sure this is gonna be a good conversation. I know I'm gonna learn a lot, and yeah, I think
Okay.
this is good.
Thank you. And now, Dolores, can you tell me what what did you have for breakfast today?
Oh my, I was expecting a big cup of coffee here, but I see this water. I'm not a big breakfast eater. Coffee is my mainstay until lunchtime, so I'm doing fine, on track for that.
Okay, good. Brian, how you doing?
I am well. Can you hear me okay? I
Hey-
can't hear me.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Okay, you may have to turn up your headphones
check.
there.
Am I on the right one?
You got
That's
nothing?
mine.
Oh,
But
I'm
that's
turning
good.
yours
Leave
up?
it there. I can hear
hold on.
myself, yeah.
Hello?
That should
Hello?
be yours.
Hello?
You should be
Oh, I
number
was
one.
turning yours up.
Okay. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Just check the wires.
So now you can hear.
Plug it in.
Yeah,
That's
it's
usually
much
the
better.
first technical problem. All right, I sound a lot better. Thank you.
Okay,
Better.
hang on a second there. Talk to me again, Brian.
Real Estate Rap, episode 6. I'm cutting out.
6 or 5.
Yeah, well, that was me changing the levels.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. And now, Ellen, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
I'm not hearing.
Okay.
Do you need to turn up your volume?
Which one is
Help.
Ellen?
We've got 4 today, so it's either 3 or 4.
Keep talking, Ellen.
Okay. No, I don't think that's it.
There you go.
No? Is it?
Or that's overall volume, I think.
Yeah, I don't think.
What?
3?
Hello?
Let's see. It was
Hello?
working yesterday.
Hello?
Let me make sure. It was totally working
Is
yesterday.
it?
Okay. She is right. She's number 3. And you have
Oh,
nothing?
there we go. Now I can hear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
What's wrong with my hand?
Doesn't have that magic touch.
I'm licensed
Check,
professional.
check.
It's a little loud.
Which
Okay,
one is mine, Brian?
so-
It sounds like my volume went down.
Everybody,
Hello?
take a breath.
Check, that's good.
Take a breath, everybody.
All
I
right.
know that
There are no mistakes, just opportunities.
Oh, there are a lot of
Share more
mistakes.
information.
All organic.
So we are ready to roll. Just about. Let me get one thing going here. Oh, hold on a second.
Is that working?
Oh, yeah.
Whoops, hang on a second.
I'm doing a little test and experiment here. That may or may not work.
That's not my phone, is it?
Yeah,
I turned mine on.
we might want to. We got.
I hope not. I'd be
Somebody
so
have a
mad.
buzzy phone going?
No.
Okay, that's not me. We good.
Okay.
'Cause
That
you know
was a
how
vibration.
cancel-
That wouldn't be too
'cause
bad.
I got it on Do Not Disturb. You know how, like, if you multiple people call, it can still mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or if they call back a couple times.
Oh, I'd be sick. Like, video wasn't streaming the whole time.
Oh, no.
Okay. Let me
Be like
see.
the
Yeah.
NBA playoffs last night. Got cut off.
Now you're sitting right
Who won
there,
last
Trey.
I don't know.
I'm gonna hand
All I heard
you-
was 5 minutes left in the game. YouTube streaming cut out.
That's what I saw that on the
And
news
people
this morning.
started flipping out.
Wow.
So if that was your only means of watching the game, you
You
missed the
didn't
end of
see
the
the best
game.
part of the game.
They said if that was the NFL, people would be rioting in the streets.
Yeah, people need to chill.
I know.
My
Sports.
good luck.
Sports.
It's a damn game.
It's crazy. $1 billion industry. Each franchise is a $1 billion brand.
Are the NFL Super Bowl, is that here next year?
No, I think they
Draft.
have the draft.
That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
draft.
Yeah.
April
draft,
25th,
okay.
26th, and 27th.
Okay. I
Next
tend to
year?
misspeak
Yeah.
about stuff like that because I have no idea.
I just saw somebody booked with me because we're doing one of our units as an Airbnb, and I'm like, why are they booking a year in advance? And then when I went to look it up, that's
Awesome. Yeah, I hope you're upselling the price on that.
yeah, very much so.
Well, she knew the dates.
Exactly.
She had those blocked
Oh,
out.
Ellen, can you tuck in a little closer to the microphone there? I said,
sure.
she's a long way away.
Is that better?
Yeah, and then a little closer if you could.
Okay.
There we go.
I'm
Yeah,
ready.
you don't have to lean into it, but I just wanted to start you a little bit closer.
No,
there.
it's better not to have to
Great.
lean.
Yeah.
And good.
So-
You're all good. Cool. Okay, we are ready to go. Is everybody ready to go with me here?
Ready.
Okay. I'll just give you a signal like that. Standing by. And
Good morning and welcome to the East Warren Recording Studio. Episode 6 of Real Estate Rap. I have Ellen Mahoney from Remax Commercial, Detroit, Trey Little, who's buying the block,
Hey.
and we have a very special guest today, Dolores McKinney
Hello.
from New Era Community Group out of Narden Park. Well, she's developing in Narden Park. And we have a pretty full agenda today, so we're going to dive right into it. And we're going to start really quick with Trey's going to give us a Buy the Block update. I know a lot has happened. Bring us up to speed, Trey.
Yeah, so basically for the last year, I've been talking about buying these pieces of property or buying my childhood home. And then when I realized that somebody already owned it, I had somebody comment like, well, just buy other properties around it. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So then somebody said, buy the block. And I was like, all right, I don't know how to do that, but sure, right? And then like these videos start getting all these views, millions of views. And I'm like, okay, well, people hold me accountable. They want to see me actually do something. So I started going to everybody I know, like, how do I do this? And then I think it was like 8 months later, the land bank accepted our offer. And every step of the way, I was meeting with everybody around me, everybody in this room for sure. And then being like, okay, how do I do this? What's the next step? So then we finally closed on it, and it's been huge. So now, wheels spinning. I'm trying to get everything together. We got a big cleanup coming up Saturday. So I'm getting everybody together for that. And now I'm trying to raise money to actually renovate the house and the 4 lots. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been good. I feel
Great.
good about it.
Yeah, Motor City Makeover, District 7 is May 20th, and at 4089 Tuxedo, we're going to have volunteers out there cleaning up that property and 4 vacant lots adjacent. Bring supplies, bring gloves, bring manpower, bring a bottle of water.
Trash bags? Does everybody need trash bags?
They provide trash bags. The city provides trash bags. City, we signed up to get flowers and other stuff. That's all provided by the city of Detroit. They have 3 days. 3 days they dedicate to the Motor City Makeover in the spring every year, and it's a very big success. And you drive through the neighborhoods, you see the yellow bags, and there was a group of people there that weekend cleaning up. Cleaning up. It's pretty powerful. And you have a sponsor for that event, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's coming through. So Happy's Pizza, I've been working with them for like 3 years, so doing events with them and stuff like that. So yeah, we did one 3 years ago, and ever since that, we've been in touch. They support me. Like, I like their food, so I mean, they coming out. Talk to a few city officials that might be coming out as well, so we'll see.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Happies. And so let's move on to our special guest, who is a very busy woman in Detroit, known currently for her Narden Park project. Dolores McKinney, from Saginaw originally, has a very unique background, very entrepreneurial. She was at one point a chemist. And bringing her knowledge to the big city of Detroit. I loved how you said that growing up in Saginaw, Detroit was like going to New York City.
It was definitely.
Yeah. I remember being a kid and going to Detroit too, and it felt like such a big, vibrant city. So tell us about your plans to restore the neighborhood in Narden Park and what you're working on.
Okay, well, our goal was to bring affordable housing. When we first envisioned this, my sister is the director of the community development side, and we work hand in hand. And I came back home, we all do, to care for our parents when you have family here and things, and that's what brought me back initially in 2012 and 13. But in 18, my father brought me back to Detroit. And this is where I really started. My first HUD home was at 7 Mile and Pearson. I don't know how I found it without the internet. I don't know how I found Section 8.
What year was that?
84.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
And
yeah, amazing.
did that home, partnered with a gentleman that I'd worked a co-op with at DuPont, and we rented it out. And then I came back in '91, found another HUD apartment. It was a condo right at 6 Mile in Bentler, right where the Myers is now today. There was no Myers there then. And I purchased that HUD home and repaired it and lived there for about 5 years. And so Detroit has always been a place, probably the only place I've ever thought of doing development. Because you have to have the heart, for me, the heart for the community and the people in that area. It's just not we're coming in there to make money. And I rode up on Nardin Park. I ride areas all the time. And it's amazing. I met with a guy, he's a billionaire, and he came in town. He says he does the same thing. And
Drive the neighborhood.
Just drive neighborhood to see the feel, what you see night and day. And so I don't know what brought me. I'd never been to Nardin Park, but I was at Henry Ford, and I just drove those neighborhoods constantly.
Oh, that makes sense.
And Nardin Park was the community that reminded me of some areas of Washington, D.C. that I saw crime-ridden 25 years ago, very dilapidated, nobody cared about. And today, there's some of the most aspiring areas in D.C.
Thriving. I just got
Thrive,
goosebumps.
it's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
And
no.
so I do have vision, and I see things that don't have to be on paper, but when you see a place like Washington, D.C., or Baltimore come back from that, it really gives you a lot more
Oh, yeah.
belief.
Yeah.
And so, we came to Nardin Park. We had a vision for Nardin Park, but our vision is what's important. It's what the people in that community have a vision for. So we met with block clubs, and they said what they wanted their home values to rise. That was surprising
Oh, yeah.
to us. They wanted young people. They want home ownership. And those were the same things that we wanted. Because when I first envisioned this, my niece and nephew graduated from Howard one, and the one that has just passed. And then my nephew was at Michigan State, but they couldn't afford to buy anything downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, we're going to create a community where young people can afford to buy, that's nice, that's contemporary, that's all those things. And that's how we got started on it.
Contemporary, high tech.
Can I just interject for a second, Dolores? Because you do not do affordable housing with any subsidies. Is that right?
Well,
At now. I mean, I know historically, if you're buying HUD homes, you did, but
you're asking me, do you do them without any?
are the living places that you're creating right now, they're not subsidized?
No, we weren't able to get subsidies. It was very difficult in the beginning for us to even get a land bank. You got 4 lots with yours, Trey. They wouldn't give me 4 lots. And I had done 6 $10 million projects. They would only give me the home itself, and then I had to prove ourselves, and so this was not subsidized. And fortunate but unfortunate, whenever we were looking to see how we could keep the cost down, and one of the big factors is taxes.
Absolutely.
And so in the beginning, we couldn't even apply for the NEZ because we only had 1 lot, and you have to have 9 contiguous.
So let's explain what an NEZ is.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you want or you want me to?
I'll let you explain it, Ellen. Go
Okay,
ahead.
yeah. Well, it's a program that allows developers to maintain their current tax assessment on property. So if you buy a land bank property, you're usually paying very little, and the taxes are very low, and you get to keep that low tax basis for about
15 years.
15
yeah.
years ish.
Yep.
Now the problem is that I've been hearing from developers is what happens in 15 years.
That's a challenge, and I think about that often, and I think the city needs to determine, based on the number of homes they're bringing on the tax roll, where do we begin to reduce that rate? Because there has to be a reduction number. It's just like a break-even point. So when you get to that break-even point, how do you begin to lower the taxes? And I don't know if the city has done that or they're working on that.
I do know that there are some developers, because I have clients that are trying to talk to the city, and the state is really the one responsible for when that assessment ends, when it comes, let's call it uncapped. If you have, a big apartment development, that uncapping could kill you rental-wise and everybody who lives there. And that's no different than condominiums where people are living, they've budgeted their money, and then suddenly they're paying, 2-3 times real estate tax.
Because what do? They reassess it and bring it up to market value of what everyone else is paying?
It seems, Brian, that that's the missing link. Nobody
Yeah.
seems to understand it,
Yeah.
but there are, big developers like Saxe, people like that who are sitting on projects that are saying, what's going to happen when my time runs out? And there doesn't seem to be anybody who can answer that.
You can get them renewed. I don't think that's the real answer either, because the city has to capture more
Yeah,
than
you have
just
to
the.
get some
But I think it
increase.
needs to be nominal. And they need to look at other cities that are similar. They need to look at and then begin to reduce that. I think they have the highest rate, the second highest rate in the country.
Their
for
millage
taxes.
is at like
Millage.
80, 88 or something
It needs to
crazy.
be, and I think that has to have a back down period. I don't think it should, after the 15 years, it can't stay there because the city has to still survive and people need their amenities that the city provides. But I think they have to work on a plan because the goal is to get more people to move. Detroit is really it's not a really rental city. It wasn't set up that way. It was a home ownership city. And when you look at it from a business perspective, the reason why is because the city has to have that income, and the more homeowners you have, the better off you are. And it spreads your risk. With apartment complex, if one guy goes under and you were dependent on his property taxes. So if you spread that, I think encouraging more home ownership, which they're doing through the land bank, and allowing the initial tax breaks are very good, but there has to be a long-term plan to kind of wean off of that and keep it. Not, I mean, Detroit shouldn't have the highest taxes in the country.
Yeah.
No.
That shouldn't happen. I have a home in Columbia, Maryland. Taxes are very high. When I say high, super high. I think I'm paying $1,000 a month for my taxes. It might include insurance, but when I say this, we have amenities in our community that are bar none. I'm happy to pay it. Yeah, our streets are paved there's no, I mean, we have the things that, so it's when you know that you're getting something worthy, you're willing to pay a little more.
Totally.
Like new
Absolutely.
sidewalks,
There you go.
lights,
Schools,
Lights,
which we
sidewalks,
talked
security,
about earlier.
safety, all those things.
streetscapes.
School systems, all that. And so you're willing to pay a little more when you know you're getting a value for it.
So what's your long-term goal in Narden Park? With the 4 units that you first started are developed. You sold most of them, and I heard you kept one as a rental.
We did. And so we keep the model and we're using it as an Airbnb test. So phase 2, we've started. Those are going to be 10 condos. We haven't been able to do the construction yet because the NEZ has to be complete. That's June 13th. We're ready to pull permits. But we did stabilize them because they were on the demo list. Literally, these buildings were on the demo list. We took them off. We framed them, almost 100% new framing.
Wow.
And that's how we'll take those out of the ground. But and we plan to finish those by September, Octoberish.
And
then
when you're done with those, your first project will be the comps for what you're doing, essentially.
they will be. We were very fortunate to get good as-built appraisals, which helps. It doesn't solve the problem, but we do have 2 under contract, and the banks have the comps are good. We're good over there because
That's great.
ours are compared to condos versus apartments. I think if we were doing apartments, we'd be underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
I have a lot of stories about that because the rental rates just are not there. But the building that you're doing now, what was it? What kind of structure?
It was a 4-unit structure. Total square footage about 3,600 square feet, and they were separate. They were units. They were 4 separate units. I think in that community, most people own the whole building and they live in 1 unit. They're just big multifamily structures. The zoning in that area, all the way from where we are to Russell Woods, going north, are all R3, and they're all multi-unit lots.
So you can create more density.
And that's what we're going to do in phase 3. So we'll create more density, more rental units, because rental will allow us to bring density quicker than for sale, and we need density. And then we'll bring a commercial portion to that, which we call the hub at Narden Park, and that's a commercial segment that we're bringing also to the
Which-
community.
You absolutely need.
Yeah.
And for our listeners' sake, can you give us an idea of how much a property that you get from the land bank costs?
The first property I think we paid, and we know we overpaid. It was like $6,500.
I hope everybody's listening now. $6,500
Yeah.
to get started on a property that's now a 4-unit condominium for sale, and the price points on the sales are,
160 to 180.
which is really pretty affordable for most working people
Exactly.
these days. So anybody out there who is looking to get into a neighborhood, it's a delightful, lovely neighborhood with a beautiful park right across the street. You've got churches. Yes, they need more infrastructure, but that's going to hopefully come in the future with the interest. And then Trey's property is essentially, it's the same
Same acquisition price.
acquisition
yeah.
price. It may not have, the ability to be 4 units,
Yeah.
but he will create a rental property and continue on his journey buying the block.
That's great. The great thing about what we've done, we gut out these units, so they're very contemporary, open concept. Everything's new. All your mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, because these buildings are 1924.
Yeah.
And when you look at the wiring, you pull that cord out, you think you're looking at an old iron, with the cord, with the
Fabric.
fabric cord. And so we feel very good that we have high efficiency systems in there, tankless water heaters, Ecobees, things that typically don't come to this market of buyers.
New roofs, new windows,
New roofs, new windows, custom
all new
windows,
drywall,
custom doors, all new drywall.
new insulation.
That was another big thing when we demoed these. None of these had insulation.
No,
they
I
don't.
can't
Yeah.
imagine the heat bill.
It's a lath. It's the plaster and lath, was it?
Plaster and lath.
Yeah,
that's
there's
what it
nothing
was.
in between
Nothing
Yeah,
there.
there's.
between
I'm
there.
working on an acquisition in another area of Detroit where the attics are just uninsulated, and you can't have efficiency when you have when you have no insulation. But PACE equity financing
Yeah.
is certainly a huge consideration when you're talking about that kind of necessary infrastructure, and it's pretty easy to come by.
Yeah, they do commercial. They wouldn't do 4 units, but they do commercial, and then they do have a minimum dollar value, but they don't consider 4 units commercial on the lending side, but when the inspections come through the city, they consider it commercial.
Of course, wow.
But no, good things, though, all good things. We really enjoy being in that community.
I want to
We're
back
looking
up to your phase 3.
Okay.
Those are existing buildings or some new construction coming?
So we purchase all the existing buildings because
Okay.
when you want to change a community ownership, people do not want to see outside their window dilapidation, tall grass. So the first and second phase were to purchase all the dilapidated buildings
Gotcha.
and rehab them.
So make mental note, Trey.
Wait, so purchasing existing buildings or what?
Yes, go after the buildings
Okay.
first.
You have to because the city, the time frame of getting those torn down is going to be 5 years, and people don't want to, be seeing that. And so just take them and clean them up and make them better and bring it to value. So we did that, and then phase 3 will be new ground up. So we just finished getting approval for that with the city. They're going to be a container. You won't know from the outside they're containers, but they'll be really a funky style. Well, I call it funky because that's a younger thing, and I know young people don't use that word, but us older people understand what it is. But it really brings a unique feel to a unit, and we're excited to bring rental on this phase and additional home ownership.
So for those who don't know about containers, they're you can manufacture the home essentially in a factory, and they bring it onto your property, and you install it, and you have a house within 2 weeks or something.
We can set 2 7-unit apartment buildings in 2 days, but you still have to finish drywalling it out and connecting all your MEP and doing your finishes. But it's a much quicker process, and we can keep them within a 55 to 60% AMI on quite a. I think we're going to commit to 20% at 55% AMI, and then we have our different segments all the way up.
For those who don't know, AMI is average median income for for those not in the industry. But the cost of putting those in of time and money it can't be beat, right?
Exactly. We still have the cost of doing the welding and welding supports around all the windows. But the timing is very important, and I think this will be my first one, so I haven't actually done the numbers. We have estimates, but we're assuming that they're going to be a little more economical than new build.
Oh, yeah.
That's incredible. And I can't help but think, I mean, you guys are neighbors, basically. You're where you are. Your Tuxedo location is half a mile from you, maybe. What would younger Dolores, 1984 Dolores, who bought that first house, tell Trey? You know, what lessons did you learn from that you could pass along to Trey or anyone else there who is aspiring to rehab their neighborhood, one house at a time?
For a city like Detroit, first you have to have the heart, and I
Mhm.
think he has that.
Yeah.
You have to, because the times are going to get so tough.
That's
Most
great.
people would want to walk away. It's going to get tougher, and that's what happens with larger developers. They come in and they see the chaos or the challenges, and they walk. And then what that does is that leaves the community always in a position that people are going to leave and not finish, and you lose hope, you know, and people lose hope and faith and belief in anything. Even when we came to Narden Park, people were saying, "Oh, you won't be here a year from now. You'll leave in 2 years. It won't." And now I'm having those same business people say, "What can we do together?"
Yeah. Wow.
So you're going to be the person to take. It's like a relationship. If a lady has been, you know, treated, or a guy bad, and you're the next one, you have to recover for everyone else. And that's huge. So you have to have the heart, because it's not about the money. You may make money, but let me tell you, it's not about that. You're going to have to bog down, and it's about you completing something. Always complete where you start too. Don't get in the middle. If you run out of money, find some. If you get a bad contractor, get rid of them and get another. You can't not complete, because that leaves another ding.
Yeah.
You know, the next young person you may be paving the road for, you're going to leave them with a rough road if you quit. So there's more pressure to be able to do that. But if you have the heart, you will find a way to complete. It's just like taking care of your children. Sometimes you're at a loss. You're like, where do I get the money for food? But you figure it out. Where do we get a housing? For us today, we've lost our housing, but you figure it out. And it's the same way with this project. You have to handle it as if it was that. Precious.
And
that's
Dolores,
good, that's good.
you have some experience managing construction.
I do. I have 27 years of construction background, but I started cutting grass. You know, I was a college student. I was on a scholarship, and I started cutting grass, doing leaf cleanup was my first. And then when I moved to the D.C. area, I did curb, gutter, and sidewalk. So you talk about those sidewalks. I did millions of dollars for the state of that kind of work. And then I got into structural decking, and then I became a general contractor in 2009 through a program called 8A. It's a SBA 8A program. It's the only program that gives minorities a leg up. The only. It's not a. It's a true set aside, meaning you can negotiate your work with the government. It's a 9-year program. And I'd studied that program for 15 years before getting in. And the day I got in, I was very fortunate that I had worked with a lot of big GCs, and Gilbane agreed to be my official SBA mentor in the program. And that kind of took my company to another level.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're still there for me. Whenever I call them and there's something sizable and there's funding, they're always interested in being my partner. So if I ever do anything outside of Narden in Detroit that's sizable, those guys have always been with me. They've held my hand. What I am today is credit to a lot of how they've allowed me to attend their negotiating courses, which they didn't let any non-Gilbane employee attend, their management courses, going to presentations with me, helping me prepare presentations, never getting in my way, just being that side, never trying to take over the job, or we're just here to help you, and they stuck to that the whole time. And it's really difficult for big companies to do that, because they often want to just come in and do it.
Oh, yeah.
And Gilbane was not that way.
You said you studied them for how long?
I studied the program for 15 years. I met a young guy in Saginaw. He was in the aerospace industry, and he was a smart guy. And he says, "I'm in this program, and I studied it. I knew the federal acquisition regulations better than they did. I knew my trade, and you have to, because you only get 9 years in the program. So if you get in the program learning, you're going to waste the first 5 years trying to figure it out."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you studied ahead of time, so you were hit the ground running.
Is it, and that program is still effective?
It is. It's the
I wrote
8A
it
program,
down.
the SBA 8A program. And I'm the kind of person I can learn from watching your failures. Most young people today, unfortunately, they want to do it and learn. And I'd say, why are you doing that? You know, but I saw a lot of people get into the 8A program and they would fail and they would get out. They would say, well, I learned more in the program than out. And I realized that you need to know the program before going in. I did so well with it. My first contract was with the Corps of Engineers out of Philly. And it was a $4 million contract.
Wow.
And most people, it's like $250,000 because they're trying them out. But I'd really done a really good job at researching the program and marketing my program.
Wow.
Marketing me, because that's what they're looking at. They're looking
Right.
at whether you're capable as a company.
But you were doing commercial construction.
I was doing commercial construction.
Yeah.
That's all I did before
Yeah.
now. This is my first getting back since '84. This is my first residential. It's tough, though.
Yeah.
This is tougher.
Residential is hard.
This is tougher than my commercial.
Well, because they're historic homes, right, that you're working with
It's-
potentially?
It's tough because with the government, if you do federal, it's all written down in the federal acquisition rate. It's a rule. It's a
Oh,
system.
okay.
Here, there's no rules. You have to learn as
Make
you
your
go.
own rules.
Yeah, and you have to learn as you go. And so there's no rule book to say call this department, do this, do that.
Yeah.
But it's much more rewarding to do the residential work. My neighbors in Norton Park, just great people. They've been there for years and they want to see different. And they do a lot of goodness in that community. Good people.
Well, I think we're going to have to leave it at that. I could ask you questions all day. I'm sure Trey and Ellen could too, and listen to your answers. You know your stuff. And we do need to talk about the SBA program, maybe potentially for Trey. I think the SBA has a lot of money to loan or grants. They're still doing grants, I assume, but
Well, they do programs. They do support minority developers because I do have a couple women who are women of color who are getting money through SBA, and it's an aggressive, down payment plan, 10%, and they will do acquisition, construction, startup cost, and furniture, fixtures, and equipment if that's part of your, it is for commercial
yeah.
Yeah.
projects only, but it gets new developers off the ground running.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about you on every podcast before today, so thanks for coming in studio. It's like having someone famous, a celebrity, a local real estate celebrity here. So thanks for your time and all you're doing in Narden Park. And that's
She is
it.
a celebrity. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm gonna be
Not a
walking over there
celebrity.
saying hi. I'm gonna just be walking up the street and saying what's up, riding a bike over there or something,
No, thanks, Dolores.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That's it for Real Estate Wrap, episode 6. Thanks, Ellen. Thanks, Trey. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, let me click this off real quick.
So, Brian, what made you get into doing this? You're pretty natural at it. That's why I
Oh,
mentioned it.
this?
Yeah.
Oh, he is.
Oh.
He's just
Yes.
These two are